Rav Chaim Kanievsky was once approached by a chatan and kala to be. It was a boy and a girl that were engaged to be married. This is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever hear. Boy and a girl were engaged to be married. And they came to the Rav Chaim Kanievsky with a problem, with a she'ela, with a question. Rav Chaim, what do we do? What's the question? Unfortunately, the boy had recently been diagnosed with an illness. And the doctors had told the boy that the chances could be slim. And even if he would survive it, he would have to go through many, many months of procedures and surgeries and we should never know of. It was going to be a start of a very, very rocky road, very difficult time for this boy. So Nu, what's the question? The boy turned to Rav Chaim and said, Harav, I am not comfortable with being married right now. He did not want to marry a girl under such circumstances. He felt it's not right for a girl to become a kala and go straight into taking care of an ill husband. It's not fair to her. And he wanted to halachically break off the marriage completely. Let her free. Nothing has happened yet. She's not married yet. Why make her, a possible a widow before she even gets married, and when she can get out of it before she gets married? Okay, so here's this side. But the kala, the bride to be, also had a question. She said, no. The problem is, she did not want this to happen. She said she got engaged to this boy with the kavanah, with the intent of going through with it no matter what. And she is not about to let go now. She is willing to go through and through whatever it takes she was going to do. Imagine this tzaddiket. She was willing to go through whatever it took. However many nights she has to stay awake, however much she has to take care of her husband, didn't matter. She made the decision to marry him, so be it. So this was their she'ela. What should we do? They didn't know what to do. Rav Chaim asks everyone to leave the room. And he turns to the Chatan and Kala and he says, Bezrat Hashem, with all the blessings, he gives them a huge blessing with such kavanah, and he tells them everything's going to be fine. You're going to get married, everything's going to be great, and you're going to have many, many children. Amen Keni Ratzon. And they leave. Somebody that was there and heard the psak of Rav Chaim, he wanted to know what's going on. Like, how do you take that from this situation? Anybody else would have thought, like, this is a time to say, listen, why should a girl go into a marriage? Maybe someone else would have said, this is a sign from heaven. This is a sign from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that this should not happen. Why should she go with her own 2 feet into a life that she has no idea from the beginning? It already looks like it's going to be hardship. But the Rav Chaim in his wisdom says, no, everything's going to be great. You're going to go on, you're going to have many children. So someone that had the guts, that was in close with Rav Chaim, asked Rav Chaim, Kvod Harav, what did you base this on? I just want to know how the Rav made this decision. So he says, simple. He says, simple, I saw it from a midrash. The midrash says, this is a beautiful midrash. The midrash says there was once a king, and Alexander the Great was visiting with this king. And as he's sitting with the king, 2 people come to the king, and they have a judgment. They need the king to be a judge. They have a problem. What's the problem? So the guy says, listen, my dear king, your highness, I bought land from Mr. Yaakov. I bought land from him recently. Fair and square, I bought the land. Once I started working on the land, digging on the land, I found treasure. So the king says, no, mazel tov. He says, I bought land from Avram. Avram sold me land. I did not buy the treasure that was in the land. So my problem is he has to take this treasure. It's his treasure. Avram looks back at the king and says, Your Highness, he's wrong. When I sold my land with everything in it. And I'm okay with him having the entire thing. The treasure is his. If I had known there was treasure, I would have taken it. Fine. But now that I sold the land with everything in it. I get nothing from this treasure. It's not mine. It's his. And this was their argument. And Alexander the Great, as great as he was waiting to see how this king, in his wisdom, will judge this case. The king turns to both of them and says, any of you have a daughter? One of them says, yes. How old is she? This and this. Do you have a son? Yes. Says, okay, perfect. Match made in heaven or on land. You give your daughter to him as a wife, and the treasure that you found should be a dowry for their wedding, a gift. And both of them look at each other and they accept, and the son and the daughter obviously date, and they like each other, they get married, and they give the treasure to them. Alexander looks at this king and says, wow, that's how you judge the case? So the king says, I don't understand. How would you have judged this situation? Alexander says, well, me, I would have just killed both of them, taken the money for myself. That would have been it. I didn't even have to think twice. To this, the king turns and says, the fact that the sun comes out in your country every morning, it has nothing to do with the merit of the human beings there, but the animals and the trees. Which was his way of saying, Alexander, I don't know how you survive where you live, how people survive where you live with such atrocities, with such lack of chesed, kindness. Rav Chaim turns to this man and he says, I made the decision according to this midrash. The midrash teaches us that whenever people are ready to be mevater, meaning when people are ready to let go, when we are ready to let go of our emotions and give in for the sake of someone else, people come out winning. So much so that the Chachamim say, giving in is not a mitzvah, it's not a tzedakah, it's not charity, it's chokhmah, it's wisdom. If you knew it would be good for you, that's what you would do every time. It's like an investment proposition. If you give in when you know you're right, when you know you have the right way, and you give in, you come out winning. That's the chokhmah of it. So what did Rav Chaim really do? Rav Chaim was looking in the Torah for his answer. He didn't look at his own logic. He was looking in the Torah for the Midrashim to see how would you judge a case like this? What would you do? Should I tell this girl to stay with him or not? The only way he made his decision was through looking in the Torah.